Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. We now got the next 4 issues of the Panini Collections and Centuria release of Build the Ferrari F40 Competizione. I can't say it. It's the Ferrari F40. I don't know, making jokes at the start of the stream, that's very unlike me. But unfortunately, the next 4 issues are a joke in themselves. And I don't think I'm being overly harsh on it when I tell you about this. Now, the problem is that out of these 4 magazines that I've got here, you hardly do anything. And it's not for the fact of them not wanting to do everything. They want you to do absolutely loads. But you don't have to do loads. I know I'm confusing you. This is going to be the most bizarre, weirdest video you've ever seen because I'm doing a voiceover for most of it. I filmed it during the live stream and loads of things went wrong. First off, I followed the instructions, which was my first mistake, believe it or not. Second problem was the live stream had a little bit of problem with internet connection. So luckily I had backup cameras on go as well, which is what you're going to see now. But I think what we should do is we should actually start with issue 45. I will tell you the problems and where things have gone weird. And then hopefully when we get to issue 48, everything will be smooth sailing. Hopefully. Makes no sense. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so this is issue 45, and like I normally do, I'm going to take you all the way to the centerfold there, and as you see, you've got the Ferrari 250 Testarossa looking like that. Lovely black and white picture there. I do love these pictures. But then we get to the actual build instructions. Now, as you can see, in everything you've got here, you've got some seat belts, and you've got some clamps and anti-roll bars. The seat belts we don't use, so we have to put that aside for the next stage. But in issue 45, it starts telling you about how to mount the anti-roll bars on, where to screw the actual little linkages to the steering mechanism here. And as you see, by the end of it, we've got this lovely section here. Well, guess what? Because they changed the steering without telling you, okay, they changed the steering in issue 44, didn't tell you to issue 48. Basically, issue 45 is completely redundant. You don't do any of that. But there's no instructions to tell you not to do that. I'm guessing there might be instructions if you watch the videos on the Centuria site, but if you didn't know about that, you are going to be completely lost in the dark. But that is issue 45 complete. So issue 46, this is where things get a little bit crazy now. You're not going to believe this. So there's the centerfold, another 250 Testarossa there. Actually a whole fleet of them there. We turn to what we actually get. And as you can see, we've got some parts for the suspension here. Now this is the parts for the left side suspension. But guess what? In this stage, look, it even says the left front suspension. You don't do anything to do with the suspension. You basically take these parts and put them to one side. What you do need is the belt from the last stage, and as you can see, we're going to be putting the belt together here like this. So at the end, we've got 2 belts looking like that. Okay, so these are the belts. I'm just going to untangle them now. 2 of these, and we want to make sure they're the right way up. So to do that, make sure that the buckles are, once I've laid this down, this way up. And then all we're going to do is we're going to be putting the center harness pins in. One goes from behind here, so it pokes up. Little bit of plastic this is. It just gives a plastic lug coming over the top so we can put the top side in. Now the top side has got, it looks like this, is got to face down towards the seat belts, which are shorter there. Now it has got a little sort of lug on the back which fits the tiny hole. You can see the other side of that, and you do have to push this really hard. So I'll get this in, maneuver it where it goes, and then push it as hard as you put it. They shouldn't be able to move, so push it as hard as you can. And there we go, that's in place. And we just do exactly the same with the other side. Once again, we put the backing on the back side of the seat belt here, and then we're just going to push the front one in as hard as we can. Again, the longer side facing towards the shorter belts, and then a bit of wiggling. Push that in again as hard as we can, and that's it. That is both the belts done. All we have left to do is put some paper stickers on the top of the belts Just going to put this flat. Now these are only paper stickers. They don't hold on very well, if I'm being honest. But that's the first one in. And we do the same on the other side here. I'm trying to keep it uniform so that when it's actually on the vehicle, that bit of advertising there is going to be symmetrical both sides. But that's the second one in. And then all we're going to do is do the same with the other belt. And that's the other belt completed. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now you see what I mean? Things not making sense. It gets worse. Okay, issue 47. Here's the centerfold. As you can see, a 250 Testarossa colour picture this time. Looking like that. We're going to turn to where we've got to do all of the parts. And as you can see, we've got the right side suspension. But guess what? We don't put the right side suspension in this stage. You need to keep this stage free for the next stage. But then it gets better. They're going to tell you to clamp all of these parts into place for the anti-roll bar that you don't need to install, as you can see. So all of this, there's no instruction not to do it, but you don't do it. I actually did this on the live stream and I had to take it all out in the end. It's not used, but they don't tell you that. What we are going to be doing is mounting the seat belts to the seats and then mounting the seats into the car. So now we don't have to do any of that. All we have to do is bring over the seats and we're going to start threading the belts through the seats. Now this can be a bit tricky because some of the brackets on these belts do not fit through the holes. And it is going to take a lot of pushing. Some of these plastic brackets there actually came out while I was doing this. But that's the first one in. Make sure you put them in the right holes as well. And the second one for the shoulder strap. As a matter of fact, those ones went in quite easy. It's the ones that I'm about to do on the sides here. But when they're in, we just put the center ones through here. And I'm just going to poke that down with my tweezers. And straighten this up. I'm going to just show you what one looks like complete before I go on to the other one. Obviously you're doing this twice and the seats are symmetrical, so it's the same on both of these. But that's how that should look like there. Let's do the other one. That's the other one completed, which means all we've got to do now is put this in the vehicle. Now to do that, what we've got to do is we've got to attach the seat belts underneath. Now these rings go over the lugs which we've got on the bottom of the seat. Once they're all in, we are ready to screw this down to the main part of the vehicle. So you just push them over, so it looks like that, and then bring over the floor pan. Now to get these in, you can't just line them up because there's cables to put on the bottom. So you saw there, I used a cocktail stick just to poke through the hole so I can line up the screw. Now, on the live stream, this was so hard to do. It was so hard to actually get it lined up, but that cocktail stick idea was brilliant. Basically, all I'm doing is poking it through the hole to the screw hole on the other side of the chair, just to line up where the seat actually goes. And when we've done that, as you can see, 4 screws, and that is that first seat in. But you see, it's got to go all of those cables there. So we do the same with the second one. I said, line up the cocktail stick so the screw hole is directly underneath where it needs to be. Once I'm happy with that, just rotate it round a little bit. We can take that out and then once again, put a screw in there and then we can fill it up with 3 more screws. But that was really hard. But thank you for Craig Jackson who gave me that idea to do that, which means we now have the seats in the vehicle. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that looks absolutely amazing as it looks. But to get to this stage wasn't that easy. As I said, issue 45 to 48 is a little bit challenging. Now, issue 48. I haven't got any footage to show you of this because I had to do this after stream once I figured out what was going on with the magazines there. So let me show you, and hopefully it will give you an idea of where we're up to and why I'm hoping everything from issue 49 is going to be plain sailing. So once again, there's the centerfold, the 330 TR. Now we're going to turn to what we're meant to be doing, and as you can see here, it's telling us how to put the suspension on the vehicle, which we do. But where they're putting the suspension on the vehicle, in all of these pictures here, they've got all the linkages for the anti-roll bars that I've just told you not to install, which is weird because when you're actually trying to fit these, they don't go anywhere where you think they would go because they changed it all. And when I say they changed it all, if I turn to the last page here, you saw this in issue 44. Look, there's a system upgrade, and basically they've taken out everything that we were meant to have done from issue 45. So what I'm going to do, because I have completed it, this is what mine looks like here. I'm going to go over it and show you exactly what I've installed, and I'll try and help you out with what screws go where. Okay, so I'm on my phone camera here, and this is what everything should be looking like after issue 48. As you can see, there's no anti-roll bars in there, there's no steering mechanism in there. What we did install was first the bottom wishbone. So if I turn this upside down so you can see that, I'll just take this out here. These are the bottom wishbones here, and the screws here are end screws, so we put them in both on each side, and we did that for the left and the right one there. What we did then, turning it over, is put the suspensions in. Now the suspension actually goes for a pin here, and I believe that was an X screw, a really long X screw. We only attach it at the bottom. As you can see, the top here is loose, and we did the same on the other side. Then we put the top wishbones in, which look like that, one side, that the other side, and once again they're held in with end screws on these points here. Bring over the brake discs on each side, the left and the right here, and then you use the type F flange screws on top, one here on top there, one down here, and then if I turn it back over again, one underneath, just to attach those brake sections into this system. Now, as you can see, it's so confusing because obviously the steering now works on that. The part that just fell out actually just goes into here. I'll put this back in 1 second. So that's in now like that. As you can see, it controls the steering there through the rack and pinion there. But that was the upgrade of the steering system, which basically threw out those 4 stages that we've built. But this is what yours should look like. I'm afraid that I've got no build footage of me doing it because I couldn't figure out how these went in when you had all the other things in the way at the time. But since they changed it, this is what it looks like. So there you go. That was the challenge of issue 45, 46, 47 and 48. Now, if you want to watch all the stress that I went through in making that and realizing all the errors in it, then check out my Patreon, and obviously the link to the Patreon is the card at the end there. But to tell you what, I went to bed last night needing a rum. I wasn't on the rum last night, but I needed a rum. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I know people are ahead of me because I've still got another 15 issues of this here to go through, that the rest is plain sailing and they don't change instructions without telling us. But I hope you like what I've managed to get together for those 4 stages. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.